Well guys, in this video I would like to introduce you an SQL injection security vulnerability that might lead you to a complete disaster if not careful while writing your login logic in your applications regardless of programming language you're using basically. So SQL injections might be vulnerable with whatever programming language and framework itself. So here I've drafted a very quick Flask application that allows us to log in and to show whether the user is logged in or not. So at the moment we're not logged in, and now just I will show you the intended functionality of this app. So if you just go to the login route here, and let's basically just enter a valid username and a valid password and submit. So in this case we have that the username is what we've just typed and the status true means that we did actually log into the session. So it represents the session the session logged in key in the session dictionary of the Python Flask. So if we just we now just kind of log out from here, then actually the session is over, is closed, and already shows us that it's kind of guest user and he's not logged in at the moment. So and also let me just show you some part of the code for this web application. So have a look at these 4 lines of code. So here we can see never do like this. So this is basically an introduction of this particular security vulnerability, and I will just show you what kind of disaster it can lead you in. Well, at least a couple of very basic and simple examples, but just for you to realize how dangerous that might be. And then we'll use this line that well, more or less secure compared to this one at least. So what is the very first issue that could have arisen here? So let's imagine a quite pretty common case. So when you want just to log in not with your username but with someone another username but not your own. So the problem with this sort of implementation is that user input is directly has been inputted into the SQL query itself. So we can basically write SQL code in the user okay, just hold on a sec. So the problem here is that user input might be treated as the just ongoing SQL statement. So just if the SQL statement is just going on there. So let me just quickly demonstrate you that sort of stuff. So in case if we like gonna know how this might have looked like, of course if SQL statement uses not the single quotes but the double quotes, the code would be slightly a bit different, but that doesn't really matter much. So we just replace single quotes with the double quotes. So here if I just type quote here, and this means that we have enclosed what is supposed to be as a valid username, but we didn't actually input anything there. So and then we just can simply say or, and then we will enclose in single quotes another single quote and equals and the equal sign, and this would always return as true. So if you just submit this one, we have the invalid password, which means that the username was actually okay. So let me just show you this one more time. So if I just type whatever user here, it would tell me that the username is not found. But in case you were typing this sort of payload here, then we can already see that the user is just kind of fine, but it just the password is invalid. So if you will use the one password that you already know for say your own user and just submit here, then suddenly you have logged in with this weird sort of username, but still you're kind of logged in, so you're owning the account already. I mean, of course, you won't ever probably face this sort of vulnerability in the real world projects, but just to show you, I just want to show you the idea of SQL injection itself. So let's now just log out from here and get back to the non-log session. Okay, sorry guys, just my cat is trying to get in here. Okay, so now let me show you something even more horrible. So if we just here I have a Mysql Workbench open that is connected to the MySQL database that is running on my local server. So here okay, it's just the users table, so we don't really need that at the moment. So if I just invoke show tables here, that we see that we have two tables, so emails and users. The users store user account information. So let me just quickly show you that. So it's just over in here. So the user and the password, and if we just try to see, basically don't probably need to use there. So if we just try to select all from emails like this, select, okay. It's probably because we need to use emails here, I believe. Okay, hold on a sec. I'm sorry guys, of course we need to use the users table instead. So you probably don't have anything in emails here at the moment, but it doesn't really matter that much. Okay, so we can insert a couple of emails into the emails table there, so let's just quickly do that. Okay, so let's have a look one more time. Okay, so we now have two entries within the emails table. So using this sort of vulnerability that I've just introduced, even worse disaster could have arisen here. So let's imagine the following stuff. So I just go back to the login page, and this time I would use my real username and my real password for this account. But after my username, I can simply close the quote and just put this semicolon, and then I can basically execute whatever SQL statement, and that would be executed in the database, and that's really horrible. So if I just say something horrible like delete just forgot the command to delete the table. Hold on guys, just check that out quickly. Okay, so it's not delete, it's actually drop table. Well, assuming of course that I know that the table is called emails, like this. So in this case, if we just submit this in, okay, and let's have a look. Actually, let's show the tables one more time to see what has happened. Okay, so for some reason it didn't yet been deleted. Okay, hold on. Okay guys, that's because I did type the name of a table a bit wrong. So let's try one more time basically. Okay, log out and log in again. So here, well, basically I don't even need to know the password here, which is even more horrible. So if I just put this single quote and then say drop table emails like this, of course, if I just submit now, then it shows me that the password is invalid, which is right because we didn't provide any, but unfortunately here the emails table has just disappeared. And you know why? That's because the command provided over here in actually dropped the entire table in our MySQL database. So imagine what a disaster is that. Okay guys, so that was kind of vulnerability introduction, and now I would like to show you a very simple method of how you can avoid that sort of behavior in your web application. So never do like this. Okay, so just command this away at the moment and use this sort of execute function definition. So we don't specify any sort of quotes enclosed in the string values, but instead we're using the second parameter and converting this into the Python dictionary, into the Python list, sorry, and then executing the query. So let me just show you how this would work in our case. So we just need to create emails table one more time here. So just create one. Okay. And here we got our emails. Again, for now it's empty, but that doesn't really matter that much. So let's actually see. Let's actually try to submit this one more time. And this time it shows us the username is not found. That's because all this stuff was actually escaped. So that's kind of some sort of very basic security measure for avoiding SQL injections. Also, the same stuff could be said regarding this sort of injection. So here again he says that the username is not found. So in this case, SQL injection is not actually available. Well, at least that's straightforward. Okay guys, so I really encourage you using this sort of cursor.execute function definition. So use this safe version and never use this unsafe when that actually creates that sort of security vulnerability. So I hope you've learned something interesting and useful out of this video. So until next time, and take care.